File, click Export, and then it's going to bring up this Export One File window. I'm going to make it large so that we can see it maybe a little bit better. I'm not sure if you can even see it clearly on here, but you'll at least know where to go on the dialog box here. So we want to export to hard drive. Even if you're exporting to an external, you want to make sure and click hard drive, because the only other options would be to email the file or to export it to a drive, like a CD or DVD drive. So we want to go to hard drive, and then over here you want to go over and start doing all of these options. So export to a specific folder is what you want to select, and wherever you've got your folder at, so you go specific folder here, and then go over to the right where it says choose, you click that, and then wherever you have the folder set up that you're going to be exporting your, in this case, website photos. So then you're going to, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and select a specific one, actually. Then over here, these other options, you do not want to select put in subfolder, so that needs to be unchecked. And then also add to this catalog. That's something that I don't recommend in this situation. Existing files, you want it to be on ask what to do. In other words, if you're exporting out the same title as a file that's already in there, you want it to give you a dialog box and ask you what you want to do. Do you want to overwrite the file that's already in there with the same name, or do you want them to have a unique name, that kind of thing? Okay, next one is file naming. That top one we were doing is called the export location. Now we're going to move on to file naming, and you want to check the box that says rename to, and then custom name. There's a number of different options in here. I'm only going to cover this one for the time being, custom name. Then on your custom text, since it's for the website, the main thing that I ask is that you give it an actual name that is similar to what you're seeing in the photo. And so I called this one Kilpatrick Hayes, which is an old photo, not the one that I was editing, but it was a different one. So I'm going to call this photo Lake O Dam. Then I'm going to just call this Open Dam. That way it describes that there is water flowing through it. That helps me later whenever I'm trying to choose which photos to use, and I don't want to look at the previews of each one. And then the next, I put that up and down, I don't even know what that is, but it's kind of like a separator. Then the next thing I put is the location, so I will put Lake Overholser. Then after that, I put the time of day, whether it's bright, sunny, or I just say bright day, or cloudy skies, or this one I'm going to call deep dusk, and that's once the sun has set and there's just a little bit of light left in the sky, but barely. And then next I put whether it's color or black and white, so this one's color. And then after that I put the size of the photo as far as the dimensions. In this case it was 3 by 2. So it says Open Dam, Lake Overholser, deep dusk, color, 3 by 2. And then the last thing I'm going to put on this one, I always do this on website photos, is I'll put web ready as the very last word. Okay, Now that you're finished with that, you can close that box. File naming box is now finished. The next one is video, and since this is a picture, we're not even going to mess with that, so you can just keep that closed and move on to the next one we're going to fill in. Is called file settings. So for file settings, for the website, for pretty much any time you're going to export the photo out of Lightroom, you're going to want to do JPEG. But you've got the options of JPEG, PSD, TIFF, which are huge files, and they don't give you much more detail than a JPEG. DNG, or putting the original. In this setting for a website, it's got to be JPEG. Quality, don't mess with that. You don't even have to worry about that. Color space, you want to choose, the options there are sRGB or display P3, Adobe RGB, or Pro Photo RGB. Pro Photo RGB is what I use for prints that are going to be printed out on a canvas or paper. But for Squarespace website, it always must be sRGB. That's the top option. Then you want to click limit file size to. For the website, web ready photos, it needs to be limit file size to. And then in that space, for it's asking how many K you put. 500K is the limit. Then you're finished with file settings. So just to review file settings, you want JPEG, sRGB, limit file size to 500K. Then image sizing. This is an important one for the website photos. Resize to fit. You want to click that box, resize to fit. Then you want to go over here to the next selection area and click select long edge. We're going to define how long we want the long edge to be. Since we don't always know if it's going to be portrait or landscape, we do want to get to make sure and set the pictures to a standardized size. So what I try and do on all the website photos is make them a 3x2 format. Every website I make sure and do a standard size. The precise website, we're going to do this 3x2 long edge, set that to 1500 pixels. You can do 1500 inches, centimeters, you want it to be 1500 pixels. So long edge, 1500 pixels. Click the box that says don't enlarge, and then resolution, you can put, I like to just put 400 pixels per centimeter. Since we've put on there to not enlarge, it's pretty much going to set itself. I did the 400 pixels per centimeter, and it changed the resolution to 157. So if I try and change it back and push tab, let's see if it leaves it there. It is right now. If we go back to pixels per inch, yeah, that's what it did. It converted that. So anyways, just do 400 pixels per inch. Let's just leave it at that. Oh my goodness, I just made a mistake. I pushed enter instead of tab. That's something you don't want to do because it will go ahead and export your photo. Okay, so I'm gonna go up here and export again, click export, and all my settings that I've done so far are gonna stay there for me. So that's cool. So I'm gonna pick right back up where I left off. Okay. For some reason it downsized this dialog area. I'm not sure why, but it did. Okay. Next one, so we're gonna do image sizing, recap. Click the box that says resize to fit, then select long edge, 1500 pixels, select don't enlarge, and then 400 for resolution pixels per inch. Okay, moving on to output sharpening. Click the box that says sharpen for, and then for a website photo like this one, you're going to click on screen instead of matte paper or glossy paper. And then when it's a photo like the ones for the Precise website where I shot them with my DSLR during the day, and so there are no, it's not going to be a gritty photo, it's not low lighting, it's not going to hurt anything to push it the standard amount. If it's a low lighting photo, you're best to click low on the amount. That way it doesn't over sharpen it and make problems for us in the JPEG, especially at this low of a quality. So, but for these, go ahead and put standard. And then include all metadata, and then leave all these others on the metadata area unchecked. And then watermark, we want to have no watermark. So, and then post-processing, I always have it show in Finder so that I can see exactly what it looks like whenever it's finished. And it will put a Finder window up for you, and you can just tap your space bar and it will give you a preview of that photo that's a really great size. So anyways,